You are not alone in your struggle with money. There is an unseen helper, a divine ally, an angel of money that waits for your command. Most people never call it, because they never learn the law. Tonight I will show you how to call, and tomorrow you will see the proof. In this message, I will reveal how to call upon the angel of supply, the divine messenger of money, and see results without delay. You will learn why worry blocks your blessing, why begging closes the door, and how a single word of truth can set wealth rushing to you while you sleep. If you have been trapped in lack, weighed down with debt, or fearful about tomorrow, tonight you will learn how to speak in faith, call your angel, and wake to a new reality. You may have prayed for money, begged for money, worried over money, and still the cupboard stayed empty. You may have thought God was deaf, or heaven was far away. But the truth is this: you are not obeying the law. Angels move by command, not by complaint. Money is not withheld from you, it is waiting to be called. And the moment you speak the right word, with faith and conviction, the whole universe shifts to deliver your supply. That is why so many have struggled in vain, they have knocked at the wrong door. Tonight, I will take you to the right one. Over the next 1 hour, I will show you how to call the angel of money and see the law of supply in action. You will hear true stories of men and women who spoke a word at night and woke to unexpected checks, opened doors, and answered needs. You will learn the exact affirmations that summon supply, the attitude that keeps the channel clear, and the traps of fear and doubt that block your blessing. I will open the scriptures so you see that angels have always been messengers of provision, swift and sure. And before we end, you will not only know how to call this angel, you will practice the call yourself. Stay with me, for what I share tonight may be the very key that turns your poverty into plenty, your fear into freedom, and your night into morning supply. Here's something most people completely miss, and it's the very reason they stay bound to lack. Money is not just coins and bills, not merely wages and bank accounts, but a divine current, a messenger of spirit, what I call the angel of supply. This angel is not some far-off being with wings of feather, but a living force, a law of God that moves instantly at your word. Angels, in truth, are messengers. And the angel of money is the messenger of your spoken decree about provision. When you call, it comes. When you command, it obeys. But when you stay silent in fear, or worse, when you complain in doubt, the angel cannot move, for you have given it no order. Think of the picture given in Scripture, when Peter was bound in prison, chained between guards, with iron gates before him. By all appearances, he was trapped, doomed, defeated. Yet the angel of the Lord appeared, struck the chains, opened the doors, and led him out into freedom. That story is more than history, it is symbol. It shows us how supply itself works. You may feel chained by debt, trapped by bills, shut in by impossibilities, but when the angel of supply is called by your word, the chains fall, the doors swing open, and you walk free. Money itself is a messenger that comes to break the prison of lack. But it will not appear until you call it, for angels move by command, not by complaint. And why do I say this? Because I have seen again and again that money is not earned by struggle, not delayed by time, not withheld by circumstance. It is summoned by truth, by faith, by the commanding word. You can beg for years and see nothing. You can labor and sweat and still remain poor. But speak one word of faith, and the law rushes to fulfill it. That is the angel of money at work. Now let me ask you, how have you been treating money? Have you seen it as master or as servant? Have you bowed to it in fear, or commanded it in truth? The world teaches you to chase it, to toil for it, to worship it, to despise it, but never to recognize it as angel, as messenger, as obedient servant of divine law. Yet that is what at Island, and the moment you see money as angel, not enemy, not master, you rise to dominion. You stop begging and start commanding. You stop fearing and start declaring. So here is the affirmation that unlocks this truth. I call on the angel of supply now. Money is my servant, not my master. It comes when I speak. It obeys divine law. It appears under grace, in perfect ways, swiftly and surely. Speak this aloud, not timidly but boldly, not as a wish but as a decree. And as you speak, feel the chains of lack falling. Feel the prison doors swinging wide. Feel the angel at your side leading you into freedom. Transition. And yet, If the angel of money is so swift and sure, why do so few ever see it? Why do multitudes pray and plead, yet their supply never comes? That is because most people block the angel with fear, begging, and doubt. And that is the snare we must expose next. What I am about to tell you may seem almost too simple, and yet it is the very key that explains why so many go through life in lack while the angel of supply waits at their side, unused, uncalled, unseen. Most people never see the angel of money because they block it at the very gate with fear, with begging, and with doubt. Fear imagines lack, and fear is a prophecy. Fear is faith turned upside down, a vision of evil accepted as law, and the moment you believe it, you call it into form. When a man says, "I am afraid I won't be able to pay my bills," he has already spoken the command, and the angel, impartial and obedient, brings him more bills and less supply. When a woman trembles and says, "I fear I will lose everything," she has already opened the door to the very loss she dreads. The angel of supply cannot enter through a gate barred by fear. For the law, never, contradicts the picture impressed upon it. And if fear were not enough, many cancel their blessing by begging. They fall to their knees and plead, "Oh God, please send me money, please help me, please don't let me starve," not realizing that every word of pleading is a confession of lack. Begging says, "I do not have." Faith says, "I already have, and I give thanks." Begging says, "Maybe one day." Faith says, "Now." And because the law obeys faith, not fear, begging leaves the cupboard bare while thanksgiving fills it. Angels are not moved by cries of despair, they are moved by words of authority. And then comes the great robber of supply, doubt. A soul may speak an affirmation once or twice, but then look around at empty pockets and say, "I see nothing. Perhaps this law does not work. Perhaps it is all imagination." And the doubt cancels the command. The word of truth is like a seed planted in soil. If you dig it up every hour to see if it has sprouted, you kill it. If you water it with fear, you choke it. But if you speak it, release it, and trust it, it grows while you sleep, and the harvest comes in due time. I remember a student who came to me in despair, saying, "I have prayed and begged for money for years, yet nothing changes." I said to her, "Of course nothing changes. For your prayer is not faith but fear. You are begging at a closed door, when all the while the open door is before you. Stop begging and start declaring." I gave her this affirmation. "I give thanks that the supply which is mine by divine right now pours in and is manifest, under grace, in perfect ways." She began to speak it, though at first her lips trembled. But as she persisted, her fear lifted, her begging ceased, and her doubt dissolved. Soon, channels opened and her supply came, not in trickles but in streams. So I ask you now, have you been blocking your angel? Have you let fear be your prophecy? Have you been begging instead of declaring? Have you been doubting instead of trusting? If so, you need not condemn yourself, but you must awaken. You must see that the angel of supply stands ready, waiting for your word. And your word must be bold, clear, certain, full of thanksgiving, without fear, without begging, without doubt. Only then does the angel move. Here's an affirmation to break these chains. I refuse fear. I refuse begging. I refuse doubt. I declare that my supply is here now. I give thanks that the angel of money moves swiftly to bring me all that is mine by divine right. Speak it until you feel the truth rise within you. Speak it until the trembling ceases. Speak it until your doubts dissolve. And then stand still, for the law will not delay. Transition. And this brings us to a glorious revelation. The angel of money does not move by time as men measure time. The angel moves instantly, outside of clocks and calendars. The supply comes as soon as the word is spoken, for spirit never delays, and that is the law of immediate response. Here is a truth that will overturn every lie you have been told about money, provision, and timing. The angel of supply does not move slowly, spirit does not crawl, God does not delay. The moment the word of truth is spoken, the law of supply answers. The delay is never in spirit, the delay is always in man. The supply is already prepared, the channels already open, the blessing already finished in the invisible. The instant you speak the decree with faith, the order is placed, the law is set in motion, and the manifestation begins to rush toward you. But most souls, blind to this truth, imagine that time is the master. They say, "It will take months, it will take years, perhaps it will never come. And by their own words, they postpone the demonstration. For fear has written the script of delay upon their subconscious. Do you not see? God is eternal present. He does not work in the future tense. He does not say, "One day I will bless you." He says, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." That is the law of immediate response. The answer exists before the question is asked. The supply is prepared before the need is spoken. But man, hypnotized by appearances, believes in distance, believes in delay, believes in impossibility, and so he ties the hands of his own angel. I recall a woman who came to me with only $8 in her purse, her face drawn with worry, her heart heavy with fear. She said, "Florence, I must stay in the city to find work. I cannot leave, for I have no way to live." But she confessed that she had a hunch to return home. I said to her, "Never ignore a hunch. Intuition is the voice of God. Obey it." She did so. She left the city, obeyed the inner prompting, and not long after, she was linked to an old friend of the family. Through that connection, money and opportunity poured in, and her entire situation turned around. She later said to me, "Tell everyone about the woman with $8 and a hunch." Her supply did not wait months or years. It was there, already prepared. The moment she obeyed and released fear, the angel of money moved at once. Another student once said to me, "Florence, I have declared supply, but nothing happens." I asked her, "Do you really believe it?" She confessed she had been speaking the words but watching the clock, measuring the hours, doubting the law. I said, "Then you cancel your own decree. Speak with faith, release it, and stop measuring. The law does not need time, the law only needs belief." She obeyed, and soon, unexpected checks began to arrive. The supply was not late, it had been waiting all along, restrained only by her doubt. So I ask you, do you believe God is slow? Do you believe the law delays? Or will you dare to see that the instant you speak, the law responds? If you can believe it, you can receive it, and you can receive it now. Say aloud, "I give. Thanks that my supply is here this moment." I release delay. I erase doubt. The angel of money moves now, under grace, in perfect ways. Understand this, the world runs on clocks, but spirit runs on faith. The world demands waiting, but heaven demands only believing. The angel of supply stands ready even now, waiting for your word. Will you continue to speak of tomorrow, or will you dare to say, "Now"? Transition. And this brings us to the mystery of the night hour. For there is a time when the mind is most open, when the subconscious is most fertile, when the word spoken takes deepest root. That is the moment before sleep, and if you will call the angel then, you will rise to meet your supply by morning. There is a mystery in the night that few understand, yet it is one of the greatest secrets of demonstration. The hours of sleep are not wasted hours, they are the workshop of spirit, the fertile soil of the subconscious, the quiet chamber where angels move without resistance. Most people go to bed rehearsing their fears, counting their debts, reviewing their troubles. They fall asleep in anxiety and rise in the same bondage, for the word they carried into the night was not truth but fear. And the subconscious, faithful servant that it is, obeys the picture impressed upon it, working all night to bring forth more lack, more fear, more limitation. But the wise soul knows that the moment before sleep is the moment of power. Whatever you speak then sinks deepest into the soil of the subconscious. Whatever you declare then is carried as a command into the unseen, where angels rush to fulfill it while you rest. That is why I say, call the angel of money at night, and you will wake to find your supply rushing to meet you by morning. Do not forget, the mind does not sleep. The body rests, but the subconscious is awake all night, recording, arranging, manifesting. If you speak fear, it builds prisons. If you speak faith, it builds palaces. If you command supply, the angel goes forth to gather it from unseen channels. That is why David said, "I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety." He knew that the word carried into sleep was the guarantee of safety, provision, and peace by morning. I recall a woman who came to me with only $2 in her purse. She feared every expense, cursed every coin, and trembled each night at the thought of tomorrow. I said to her, Stop cursing your purse. Bless it. Speak over it before you sleep. Say, "This is the magic purse of spirit. It can never be depleted." As money goes out, more money rushes in. My purse is always full, overflowing with supply, under grace, and in perfect ways. She obeyed. Each night she declared this truth, carrying it into her sleep. Not long after, she received a gift of $6,000. Her supply had multiplied in ways she could never have outlined. It was not luck. It was not chance. It was the angel of money, called at night, answering by morning. Another student once dreamed of a journey abroad but had no means to make it happen. She longed for it, begged for it, worried over it, and nothing came. I said to her, "Stop longing, stop begging, speak the word before you sleep. Declare that your trip is already prepared, divinely financed, divinely arranged." She obeyed. She went so far as to buy a trunk in faith, and each night she spoke her declaration. Soon, the funds appeared, the doors opened, and she sailed abroad, just as she had desired. Again, it was not time or toil that brought it. It was the night word, the seed planted in the subconscious, that bore fruit in the morning. So I ask you now, what words are you carrying into your sleep? Are you rehearsing debts, or are you declaring abundance? Are you fearing tomorrow, or are you commanding tomorrow? Are you letting the night multiply shadows, or are you calling the angel of supply to move while you rest? Remember, your night word is your morning harvest. Here is your affirmation. I call on the angel of money tonight. I give thanks that as I sleep, supply is rushing to meet me. I rest in peace, and I rise in abundance. I wake to doors opened, bills paid, needs met, and gifts received, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak this aloud before you sleep and then release it. Do not wrestle, do not worry. Trust that while you rest, the law is at work, the angel is moving, the supply is on the way, and when you wake, give thanks at once, even before you see the evidence. Say, "I thank thee, Father, that my supply has arrived. I walk in abundance today." For gratitude is the seal that multiplies the harvest. Transition. And now we come to the final key in this first great section, the commanding word of faith. For it is not enough to whisper timidly or hope vaguely. The decree must be spoken as fact, as law, as already accomplished. And when it is spoken in that spirit, nothing can resist it. Here is the crowning secret of this first great law. Your word must not be a timid wish, nor a half-hearted hope, nor a faint whisper into the void. Your word must be a command, spoken in faith, released with authority, and sealed with thanksgiving. Too many treat their words like shadows, fluttering them about without force, muttering them without conviction, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But the spoken word is not small, it is the very scepter of dominion given to man by God. When you speak, you are not reciting poetry, you are sending out decrees that heaven and earth obey. The angel of supply does not respond to whimpering, does not heed uncertainty, does not move at the sound of begging, it moves at the command of faith. You must remember, faith is not timid. Faith is not future. Faith is now, and faith speaks with certainty. The scriptures declare, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." Do you hear that word? Not beg, not plead, not wait, but decree. A decree is a law, a command, an order that admits no contradiction. When a king decrees, his realm obeys. When you decree in faith, your world obeys. That is why your decree must be specific, simple, bold, and spoken as fact. Do not say, "I wish money would come." Do not say, "Perhaps supply will appear." Say instead, "Large sums of money come to me quickly, easily, and under grace, in perfect ways." That is a decree, that is a command, and the angel of money moves instantly to obey. I recall a student who longed to travel abroad. She dreamed of it, sighed for it, complained that she had no way, but nothing happened. I said to her, "Stop sighing, stop wishing, speak the word as though it were already accomplished." Say, "I give thanks for my divinely prepared trip, divinely financed, divinely arranged, under grace, and in perfect ways." She obeyed. She went so far as to act in faith. She bought a trunk. Though she had no ticket, no money, no plan. That trunk became the vessel of her decree. Soon, the supply arrived. The The doors opened, and her trip was fulfilled in every detail. It was not chance, it was not toil, it was the commanding word of faith. Another woman once told me, "Florence, I affirm, but nothing changes." I asked her, "How do you speak your affirmations?" She admitted she spoke them timidly, as though testing the waters, always followed by doubt in her heart. I said, "Then you cancel your own decree. Your word must be spoken as though it is already done. Speak it with thanksgiving, as one who has already received." She began to do so. She shifted her tone from pleading to commanding, from wishing to thanking. Soon, her demonstration came quickly, for the angel of supply had at last received a clear order. So I ask you now, how are you speaking your word? Are you sending out faint signals, mixed with fear, tangled with doubt? Or are you standing tall, speaking boldly, declaring with conviction? Remember, the subconscious is not clever. It does not weigh, it does not analyze, it does not argue, it obeys. And the universe in turn obeys the subconscious. Therefore, the word you speak in faith becomes law. Here is the affirmation I give you now. I command my supply to appear. I give thanks that large sums of money come to me quickly, easily, and under grace, in perfect ways. I do not beg, I do not doubt, I do not delay. I decree, and it is established. Speak it aloud, speak it with certainty, speak it until you feel the authority of heaven itself moving through your tongue. That is the commanding word of faith, and nothing can resist it. And let me remind you, words are not empty sounds. Words are vibrations that move substance. Words are blueprints upon which spirit builds. Words are forces that carve out reality. And when you speak them in faith, they carry weight, they carry fire, they carry power. One decree can overturn years of struggle. One declaration can dissolve mountains of debt. One command can call supply from invisible channels, swiftly and perfectly. Do not underestimate your word, it is the instrument of creation. Transition. And so we close this first great section. You have seen what the angel of money is, why most never see it, how it moves instantly when called, how the night carries your word into morning, and how the commanding decree seals the law. But now the question rises, how do you keep your channel clear? How do you speak so that fear, panic, and doubt never creep back in? That is the next great secret. Learning how to command the angel with the right words, the right attitude, and perfect alignment. Here is the first truth you must grasp if you are to command the angel of money with authority. Every word you speak is law. Every phrase you utter, every sentence that passes your lips, goes forth as a decree, planting itself in the soil of the subconscious and bearing fruit in your outer world. Words are not idle. Words are not wasted. Words are not mere sounds. Words are forces. Words are seeds, words are wands. And the tongue, though small, is the rudder of life, turning the whole ship, directing the entire destiny. The scriptures declare, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And again, by thy words thou shalt be justified. And by thy words thou shalt be condemned. That is no figure of speech, that is divine law. You cannot escape it. You live today in the harvest of words you spoke yesterday. And tomorrow, you will eat the fruit of the words you speak today. Most people are careless with their words, and so their lives are careless and confused. They joke about poverty, saying, "I'm always broke." They repeat the language of sickness, saying, "I'm always tired, I'm getting worse every year." They voice defeat, saying, "Nothing ever works out for me." They prophesy disaster, saying, "I knew this would happen." And because the subconscious mind records without argument, without reason, without judgment, it engraves these phrases as commands, and the outer world obeys. The angels of supply, health, and love hear only the decree, not the tone, not the intention, not the joke. They obey the words. And so men live in prisons built by their own tongues, never realizing that they themselves were the jailers. I recall a woman who once told me, laughingly, that she wished she could live in a trunk, for she was weary of her home and restless in her spirit. She said it often, half in jest. Yet the subconscious does not jest, it does not know humor, it records every word as law. In time, this woman lost her home, lost her comforts, and found herself living in a trunk, traveling from place to place, without stability. She had spoken her condition into being. That is the power of the tongue, misused. But I have also seen the same power wielded for glory. Another woman came to me in lack, with only a few dollars in her possession. Instead of cursing her purse, I taught her to bless it. I gave her the affirmation, "This is the magic purse of spirit, it can never be depleted. As money goes out, money flows back in. My purse is always full, overflowing with abundance, under grace and in perfect ways." She began to speak it daily. Her tongue, which had once prophesied lack, now decreed abundance. And soon her outer world obeyed unexpected gifts, opened doors, and multiplied supply. Her purse, once empty, became a symbol of never-failing provision. That is the power of the tongue, redeemed. So I ask you, what are you speaking today? Are you rehearsing your debts, calling them my bills, my lack, my poverty? Then no wonder they cling to you, for you have claimed them as your own. Are you repeating phrases of sickness, calling yourself weak, frail, ill? Then no wonder your body obeys, for you have commanded it so. Or will you dare to reverse the decree, to speak life, abundance, health, and freedom, and watch as the angels rush to fulfill it? Here is the affirmation that seals this truth. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer. I write only words of health, wealth, love, and victory. Every word I speak is a seed of good, and it bears fruit swiftly, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it often, guard your lips as though they were the gates of a treasure house, for indeed they are. For what you let out will come back multiplied. The tongue is your power, use it wisely, and the angel of money will obey without delay. Transition. And yet the tongue carries both blessing and curse. It is not enough to know its power, you must learn to direct it rightly. For fear and faith both command results instantly, and whichever you choose will call your angel. That is the next secret, the divider of supply, fear, or faith. Here is a truth that most souls never grasp, and it is the very reason they wander in circles of lack and delay. Fear and faith are one. Power. They are both belief. They are both conviction. They are both pictures held steady in the mind and impressed upon the subconscious. The only difference is the direction in which they move. Faith is belief in good, and fear is belief in evil. Faith is confidence that the law of God is bringing abundance, health, and victory. Fear is confidence that the law will bring lack, sickness, and defeat. But the law itself is neutral. It does not choose sides. It simply obeys whichever master you give it. If you sow faith, it produces good. If you sow fear, it produces evil. The angel of money, like every angel of supply, listens to your word. Speak in faith, and it rushes in with provision. Speak in fear, and it shuts the gate and leaves you empty-handed. I once counseled a man who lived in continual terror of contracting a rare disease. He read about it, thought about it, imagined it, spoke of it constantly. He held the image so firmly that his subconscious received it as command. In time, though the disease was exceedingly rare, it came upon him. He had believed more in sickness than in health, more in fear than in truth, and the law had simply carried out the order. His faith had been inverted into fear, and the demonstration followed. Do you see the stakes? Fear is not idle. Fear is not weakness. Fear is creative power turned against you. But I have also known those who stood in faith, and the law moved instantly for their good. A woman once said to me, "Florence, I have no money, but I dare to believe that God is my supply." I gave her the affirmation, "God is my unfailing supply." Large sums of money come to me quickly, easily, and under grace, in perfect ways. She declared it in faith, holding the picture of abundance instead of lack. Soon, unexpected checks began to arrive, debts were cleared, and she walked free. Her faith, though small at first, became the channel through which supply rushed in. So I ask you, which master are you serving? Are you bowing to fear, repeating its lies, rehearsing its pictures? Or are you standing in faith, declaring truth, painting the picture of abundance in your heart? Remember, you cannot serve two masters. You cannot speak fear by day and expect faith to work by night. You must choose, and the choice is made with every word you speak, every thought you hold, every picture you accept. If fear rises, do not fight it, for wrestling with fear only strengthens it. Instead, substitute at once. Replace the picture with its opposite. If fear says, "You will fail," speak, "I cannot fail, for God never fails." If fear says, "You will be poor," speak, "I am rich, for God is my supply." If fear says, You will be sick, speak, I am whole, for divine life flows through me. This is the law of substitution, and it dissolves fear as light dissolves darkness. You do not argue with darkness, you switch on the light. You do not wrestle with fear, you speak faith. Here is your affirmation. There is no power in fear, I choose faith. I declare that supply is mine now. I see abundance, I expect abundance, I walk in abundance, and nothing can oppose me, for God is my unfailing source. Speak it until your mind clears, speak it until your heart steadies. Speak it until the picture of fear fades, and the picture of faith stands bright and immovable. Fear and faith are the divider of supply. Fear shuts the door. Faith flings it wide. Fear drains your life. Faith fills it to overflowing. Fear enslaves. Faith liberates. The angel of money waits to hear your choice. Speak fear, and it flees. Speak faith, and it obeys. The law is impartial, but you are not. You are the decider. Choose this day whom you will serve. Transition. And now that you see how fear must be cast out and faith enthroned, let us step into a practice that makes this choice permanent. The practice of casting the burden before sleep, so that your subconscious works in freedom and the angel of supply moves without hindrance. Here is a practice that may seem so simple, the reasoning mind will laugh at it. Yet it is the key that has loosed thousands from chains of fear, debt, sickness, and defeat. The practice of casting the burden. Most people carry their burdens like stones strapped to their back. They go through the day bent under the weight of worry. They go to bed rehearsing their problems, tossing on their pillows as though wrestling with shadows could produce light. They rise in the morning weary, crushed, still chained to the very loads they dragged into the night. But Christ said, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." This is not poetry, it is law. The Christ within, the God self at the center of your being, is the burden bearer. And when you cast your burden upon him, it is lifted in an instant, dissolved by divine intelligence, and your way is cleared. But here is the mystery. You must do it consciously, deliberately, especially before you sleep. For sleep is the workshop of the subconscious. If you go to bed with your burden, the subconscious will work all night to produce more of it. If you go to bed free, having cast it upon the Christ within, the subconscious will work all night to produce miracles. That is why I say, never enter sleep with your worry in your hand. Always cast it before you rest. Hand it over to the Christ, release it fully, declare your freedom, and then lie down in peace. The angel of supply moves swiftly through the night when you are no longer in the way. I recall a woman who came to me trembling over a lawsuit. She said, "Florence, I cannot sleep, I cannot eat. The fear of losing everything consumes me." I said to her, "Then stop carrying it. Cast it. Say, I cast this burden of lawsuit upon the Christ within me. I go free. He is my defense, my shield, my deliverer. The outcome is perfect, under grace, in perfect ways." She obeyed. She repeated it until peace entered her spirit, until the tension left her body. She slept at last, and when the day of trial came, the case turned miraculously in her favor. The angel of supply had worked through the night because she had given the matter to the Christ within. Another student, tormented by debt, said to me, "Florence, I cannot think of anything else. Bills rise before my eyes at every turn." I said, "Then cast them. They are not yours to carry. Say, I cast this burden of debt upon the Christ within me. I am free to receive my supply now." He did so, and though the debts had seemed immovable, within a short time the entire sum was provided, and he stood free. He later told me, "The relief came the moment I let go. I realized I had been blocking the supply with my worry. When I cast the burden, the supply rushed in. So I ask you, what are you carrying tonight? Is it fear of money, fear of sickness, fear of tomorrow? Why stagger under a load you were never meant to bear? The Christ within is mighty. The Christ within never slumbers. The Christ within knows ways you know not of. Cast it. Say aloud, "I cast this burden upon the Christ within me. I am free. My night is peaceful. My morning is abundant. The angel of supply moves swiftly while I rest." Speak it until your heart lightens, until your body relaxes, until you can lie down in peace. Remember this. When you carry the burden, you block the channel. When you cast the burden, the channel opens. When you insist on solving the problem yourself, you interfere with the law. When you release it, the law works perfectly. Burdens are illusions of the ego, casting is the recognition of truth. So never go to sleep with worry in your heart, always cast it. For the night is sacred, the subconscious is fertile, the angels are ready, and the Christ within is waiting to bear the load. And when you awake, you will find the burden gone, the way open, the supply near, and peace established. Transition. And once, if you learn to cast the burden and rest in peace, you are ready to practice the next great law, the law of gratitude, which multiplies what you have and draws more without effort. For whatever you bless increases, and whatever you thank God for multiplies. Here is a secret so great and yet so simple that many trip over it and pass it by. Gratitude multiplies. Whatever you bless increases. Whatever you thank God for grows. Whatever you speak of with thanksgiving is stamped with the seal of multiplication. And the wonder of it is this: you need not wait until the gift is in your hand to give thanks. You must thank in advance, you must bless what you cannot yet see, you must call plenty out of apparent lack by the power of gratitude. That is how the loaves and fishes were multiplied. The disciples saw only a little food, enough for a boy's lunch, but Jesus lifted it to heaven and gave thanks. He blessed the little, and it became much. He thanked before there was enough, and thanksgiving opened the gates of multiplication. That is law, not legend. It works in every sphere of life. Most people curse their supply instead of blessing it. They look at a thin purse and say, "This is all I have." They sigh when they pay a bill and mutter, "There goes my money again." They sit at their table and complain. There is never enough. And because complaint is also a decree, the purse grows thinner, the bills grow larger, the table grows barer. The law cannot be fooled. It multiplies whatever seed you sow. Sow complaint, and you reap lack. Sow gratitude, and you reap abundance. It is that simple. I recall a woman who came to me in tears, saying, "Florence, I have only $1 left. What shall I do?" I said to her, "Bless it, thank God for it. Speak over it as though it were the key to treasures." I gave her this affirmation: "I give thanks for this dollar. It is the magic purse of spirit that can never be depleted. As it goes out, more flows back in, multiplied under grace and in perfect ways." She obeyed. She stopped cursing her dollar and began blessing it. Not long after, she received a gift of money far greater than she had ever expected. Her supply multiplied because her gratitude multiplied it. Another student, longing for work, complained endlessly that no one wanted her, that there were no opportunities. I said to her, "Stop cursing your life, bless it. Each morning say, 'I give thanks for my perfect work, prepared for me, waiting for me, divinely financed, divinely arranged.' Thank before you see it, declare gratitude in advance." She obeyed. She thanked for what was unseen, and soon, a position opened for her, one that matched her talents and paid her richly. Gratitude had prepared the way. So I ask you, are you blessing or cursing your supply? Are you giving thanks in advance, or are you waiting to see before you thank? Waiting to see is not faith, it is sight. Faith thanks before it sees. Faith blesses the seed, not just the harvest. Faith declares, "I give thanks now," and the angels rush to multiply. Here is your affirmation. I give thanks that every bill is already paid. I give thanks that money flows freely to me. I give thanks that the angel of supply is active now, bringing me more than I have asked or thought, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it aloud before the evidence appears. Bless the purse before it fills. Thank for the door before it opens. Rejoice over the gift before it arrives. And you will find that what you bless increases, what you thank God for multiplies, and what you declare with gratitude becomes visible with astonishing speed. Remember this: complaint shrinks, thanksgiving expands. Complaint starves, gratitude feeds. Complaint closes, gratitude opens. The law does not waver. The angel of money listens to your tone. If you complain, it cannot move. If you thank, it rushes forth. So live in gratitude, not for one day, not for one moment, but continuously. And in that atmosphere, your life will overflow. Transition. And once you learn to bless your supply in advance, you will see that gratitude alone is not enough. You must also hold yourself in the attitude of poise. For panic shuts the door, even on blessings called in faith, while calm opens it wide and keeps it open. That is our next great secret, poise as mastery. Here is a truth that most people overlook, yet it is the very secret that determines whether your demonstration stands or falls. Poise is power. To be poised is to remain calm when appearances rage, to be steady when the storm howls, to be unmoved when the bill arrives, to be unshaken when others panic. Most people destroy their own demonstrations because they lose poise at the first sign of opposition. They declare abundance one moment, and then collapse in fear the next when a need appears. They affirm supply in the morning, and by evening they are wringing their hands and saying, "What shall I do?" Do you see what has happened? Their panic has cancelled their decree. Their fear has shut the very door they had just opened. For panic slams the gate in the face of the angel of supply, while poise throws it wide and keeps it open. The scriptures show us again and again that mastery is not in struggle but in calm command. Daniel was cast into the lion's den, surrounded by danger, yet he remained poised, confident in his God, and the lions lost their power. Christ was asleep in the boat while the storm raged, and when his disciples cried out in terror, he rose in calm authority and said, "Peace, be still." And the storm obeyed. That is, poise as mastery, the refusal to be disturbed by appearances, the calm certainty that truth will prevail. I once counseled a man who trembled each time a bill arrived. He told me, "Florence, the very sight of an envelope fills me with dread." I said to him, "Then you are creating more bills, for your panic is the prophecy. Each time you fear, you engrave more lack upon your life. Instead, receive each bill with poise. Say, 'I give thanks that this bill is paid in full. God is my supply, and God is never late.' Do not tremble, stand calm, declare truth, and let the angel of supply do its work." He obeyed. At first his hands still shook, but with practice, his calm grew, his fear vanished, and soon his supply increased until bills no longer troubled him. He learned that poise is mastery. Another woman came to me distressed by her family's behavior. She said, "Florence, their actions upset me constantly. I cannot keep my peace." I said, "Then you have surrendered your power to them. Speak this word, 'Nothing disturbs me, nothing shakes me. I am built upon the rock of Christ.' I remain poised and calm." She obeyed, and though her family did not change overnight, her inner calm dissolved the storm. In time, the outer conditions softened to match her poise. So I ask you, what shakes you? What makes you tremble? Is it money, health, relationships, the opinions of others? Whatever it is, know this. You can master it by poise. Stand still. Speak truth. Refuse to be disturbed. Say aloud, "I am calm, I am steady, I am unmoved. The Christ within is my rock, and I rest upon it." Speak it until your heart steadies, until your mind clears, until your body feels peace. For the world will always test you with appearances. The question is not whether the storm will rise, but whether you will remain poised until it passes. Poise is not weakness, it is strength. Poise is not passivity, it is mastery. The poised soul does not need to shout or strive, for their calm itself is command. The universe bends to the one who refuses to be shaken. The angel of supply moves swiftly for the one who stands still and knows. For poise is the proof of faith, and faith is the language of heaven. Transition. And now, having seen how poise keeps the door open, you are ready for the crowning secret of this section, speaking as one in authority. For angels do not answer hesitation, but they obey the voice of command. Here we reach the crowning point of this section. The angel of supply does not answer hesitation, it does not bow to timidity, it does not obey the quivering tones of doubt. The angel of money moves at the sound of authority, the voice of certainty, the decree of faith. Authority is the language of heaven, and when you speak as one who knows, the entire universe bends to your command. The scriptures declare that Christ spoke as one having authority, and not as the scribes. He did not beg, he did not plead, he did not outline excuses. He said, "Lazarus, come forth," and Lazarus obeyed. He said, "Peace, be still," and the storm ceased. He said, "Be thou made whole," and the body was healed. That same authority is given to you, for you are made in the image of God, and the word of God spoken through you carries creative force. But most men and women speak as scribes. not as Christ's. They recite words they do not believe. They mutter affirmations like parrots. They plead with heaven instead of commanding as children of the King. And so nothing happens. I once counseled a woman who said, "Florence, I keep repeating affirmations, but they feel empty." I asked her, "Do you speak them as one who knows or as one who wishes?" She admitted she spoke timidly, afraid to believe, afraid to command. I said, "Then you cancel your own word. Speak as though the thing were already accomplished. Speak with thanksgiving, with finality, with certainty. Do not hope, declare." She obeyed, and as soon as her tone changed, her circumstances changed. She began to receive supply, where before there had been only lack. The angel of money had been waiting, not for more words, but for words spoken in authority. Authority is not arrogance. Authority is not loudness. Authority is calm certainty, rooted in the knowledge that divine law never fails. If you speak with authority, you need not raise your voice, you need not strain your tone, you simply declare, and the law obeys. Authority is final, authority is absolute. Authority admits no contradiction. That is why I tell my students, never say, "I hope, I wish, I want." Say, "I have, I am. I give thanks now." For the angel responds to present fact, not future hope. Think of a king seated on his throne. He does not beg his subjects to obey. He issues a decree, and it is done. You too are seated in authority as a child of God. Your words are decrees, your affirmations are laws, your tongue is the scepter. Speak as though heaven and earth are listening, for they are. Do not tremble as a beggar. Do not whimper as a slave. Do not stammer as one unsure. Stand tall, speak clear, and declare, "I have a perfect work in a perfect way. I give perfect service for perfect pay. Large sums of money come to me quickly, easily, and under grace, in perfect ways." And then rest, knowing the decree has gone forth and cannot return void. I recall one student who longed for work. She prayed, she begged, she worried, and nothing came. I gave her the affirmation, "I have a perfect work in a perfect way. I give perfect service for perfect pay." But I told her, do not whisper it as a wish. Speak it as though the job is already yours. Speak with thanksgiving. Speak with authority. She did so, and soon an offer came that matched her perfectly, with pay greater than she had imagined. The difference was not the words themselves, but the spirit in which they were spoken. The angel of supply responds to authority. So I ask you now, how are you speaking? Are you still pleading for scraps, or are you commanding your feast? Are you still whispering with doubt, or are you declaring with faith? The angel of money is waiting at your side, ready to obey, but it will not move until it hears the voice of authority. Here is your affirmation: I speak with authority. I decree my good, and it appears now. I give thanks that supply is mine, health is mine, joy is mine, success is mine, under grace and in perfect ways. I do not plead, I command. I do not hope, I declare. I do not wait, I receive. Speak it and feel the power surge through your being. Speak it until you believe it. Speak it until the outer world bows to the inner word. For heaven and earth, obey the voice of authority. Transition. And so this great section closes. You have seen the power of the tongue, the choice between fear and faith, the practice of casting burdens, the law of gratitude, the strength of poise, and the command of authority. And now you are ready for the next revelation: how to live daily with the angel of money, so that supply does not come in trickles or in single demonstrations, but flows constantly, permanently, unbroken, like a river that never runs dry. Here is a law that changes everything once you grasp it. Life always meets you at the level of your expectancy. Whatever you continually look for, you find. Whatever you prepare for, you receive. Whatever you declare in your heart as certain, comes rushing into your experience. Expectancy is a magnet. Expectancy is a seed. Expectancy is the invisible mold into which supply must pour itself. And I tell you, the angel of money obeys not only your spoken words, but the atmosphere of expectancy that surrounds you like a garment. If you expect poverty, poverty clings to you. If you expect delay, delay dogs your steps. If you expect failure, failure is never far behind. But if you expect abundance, abundance must come. If you expect open doors, the doors swing wide. If you expect money, money flows in streams you cannot exhaust. For expectancy is faith carried in the heart all day long, silently commanding angels to move, silently arranging channels, silently preparing demonstrations. Most people live in the opposite current. They rise in the morning expecting trouble. They look for the letter of bad news, the bill that cannot be paid, the disappointment that seems inevitable. And because the law is exact, they meet what they expect. They prepare for rainy days, and rainy days come. They brace for disaster, and disaster arrives. They say, "I knew it," as though foreknowledge were wisdom, when in truth they themselves had called it forth by constant expectation. They have been their own prophets of doom. But the wise soul reverses this. The wise soul wakes each morning saying, "Something wonderful is on its way to me today." The wise soul lays their head upon the pillow at night saying, "Tomorrow will be greater than today, for my good is always increasing." The wise soul lives in an atmosphere of expectancy, and in that atmosphere miracles are daily bread. I recall a man who was always preparing for lack. He spoke constantly of hard times. He hoarded money in fear. He dreaded every letter in the post, expecting bills and bad news. And sure enough, his fears materialized one by one. He had faith, but it was faith in evil. At last he came to me in despair. I said to him, "You must reverse your expectancy. Stop preparing for loss. Prepare for gain. Stop rehearsing failure. Rehearse success. Each morning declare, 'I live in constant expectancy of the best. My good is on its way. My supply flows freely, and I cannot miss it.'" He obeyed, though at first his lips trembled. But he persisted, and little by little his atmosphere shifted. He began to expect good, and good began to arrive. Opportunities opened, supply appeared, and his entire life turned about. Another woman had lived in dread of sickness. Each winter she expected to fall ill, and each winter she did. The pattern repeated year after year, for her expectation had become law. When she came to me, I said, "Do not expect sickness, expect health." Each morning say, "I live in constant expectancy of radiant health. My body is strong, my spirit is free, my life is filled with energy." Declare it until health becomes your atmosphere. She obeyed, and for the first time in years, she passed through the winter in perfect health. The only change was her expectancy. The law had always been working, but now it was working in her favor. So I ask you now, what are you expecting? Are you expecting your blessing, or are you expecting your downfall? Are you bracing for storms, or are you preparing for harvest? Are you standing with arms open to receive, or with shoulders hunched to resist? Remember, you cannot expect one thing and receive another. You cannot sow dread and reap joy. You cannot prepare for lack and reap abundance. The law is exact. Here's your affirmation. I live in constant expectancy of the best. I prepare for miracles. I open my doors wide to supply. I expect abundance, health, joy, and success, and they appear daily, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it until it fills your atmosphere. Speak it until it becomes your very nature. Speak it until the angel of supply hears it ringing from your heart day and night, and then watch as good comes rushing to meet you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Transition. And once you learn to live in constant expectancy, you will see another law clearly. You must never prepare for failure. For what you prepare for, you invite. And many souls, thinking themselves prudent, unknowingly prepare for the very disaster they dread. That is the next key we must uncover. Here is one of the greatest mistakes of mankind, and it is so common that most do not even see it as error. They think it is wisdom, they call it prudence, they praise it as caution, when in truth it is nothing but faith in failure dressed in respectable clothes. Most people spend their lives preparing for defeat. They put money aside for the rainy day, and the rainy day always comes. They brace themselves for disaster, and disaster arrives. They rehearse loss, and loss obeys. They say, "I must be realistic," not realizing that their so-called realism is simply inverted. Faith in lack, faith in sickness, faith in decline. And because the law is impartial, it gives them what they have prepared for. Do you not see? Preparation is expectation made visible. Whatever you prepare for, you invite. Whatever you make room for, you receive. If you set an extra place at the table, you are expecting a guest. If you buy winter clothes, you are expecting cold weather. If you put money aside for disaster, you are expecting disaster. If you buy insurance for sickness, you are expecting sickness. And the subconscious, that perfect servant, sees your preparation and says, "Yes, master," and brings it to pass. The angel of supply stands ready to bring abundance, but if your preparation is for loss, the angel can only obey the blueprint you have laid down. I remember a woman who once said to me, "Florence, I must save for the day when I can no longer work, for surely old age will bring weakness." I said to her, "Then you have already decreed your weakness. You have built a room for it in your house. You have set a table for it at your feast, and because you have prepared for it, it will surely come." And it did. Her decline came just as she had rehearsed. But I told another woman in the same situation, "Prepare not for weakness but for strength. Say daily, 'I expect strength to the end of my days. My youth is renewed like the eagles. I go from strength to strength.' Speak it, prepare for it, expect it." She obeyed, and she walked in vigor long after others had fallen into frailty. The difference was not in age, not in circumstance, but in expectancy and preparation. Another student once told me she dreaded every winter, certain that illness would come. She laid aside money for doctors, kept medicine always at hand, spoke often of her usual sickness. I said to her, "Then you are signing your own contract with disease. You are rehearsing the play before it begins, and so the part is always given to you. Stop preparing for illness, prepare for health. Say, 'I expect radiant health. I bless my body. I prepare for vitality and joy.'" She obeyed, and for the first time in many years she passed through the winter in perfect health. The law had not changed, her preparation had. So I ask you, what are you preparing for? Are you making room for lack, or are you preparing for plenty? Are you rehearsing failure, or are you rehearsing success? Are you building houses for fear, or are you preparing mansions for faith? Remember, you cannot prepare for one thing and expect another. The subconscious takes your preparation as command. Here is your affirmation: I refuse to prepare for failure. I prepare only for success. I refuse to prepare for sickness. I prepare only for health. I refuse to prepare for lack. I prepare only for abundance. My life is a house prepared for joy, prosperity, and victory, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it daily, and then act in alignment. Clear the space for blessings. Set the table for supply. Open the door for opportunity. Build for health, for strength, for joy. And the angel of money will not disappoint, for it will rush to fill the house you have prepared. Transition. And once you stop preparing for failure, you will discover another law. Giving multiplies. For the channel of supply cannot remain open unless what flows in also flows out. Stinginess shuts the river. Generosity keeps it moving. And that is the next secret: multiplying by blessing others. Here is a law that many resist, and yet it is one of the simplest and most unfailing. Whatever you give in love multiplies and returns to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The world says, "Hold fast, cling to what little you have, for there may not be more tomorrow." But heaven says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." The world says, "Protect yourself by hoarding." Heaven says, "Open your hand, for an open hand cannot remain empty." The angel of money moves through circulation, not stagnation. Money is like blood in the body; it must flow to keep you alive. If it pools in one place, cut off from circulation, it becomes poison. In the same way, when you clutch your money in fear, you choke the very channel through which more would come. But when you give in faith, when you bless others with what you have, you prove to the universe that you trust the law, and the law responds by multiplying your supply. I remember a woman who came to me with her last few dollars. She said, "Florence, I dare not give, for this is all I have." I said, "That is why you must give. You must prove that God is your supply, not these few dollars. Give a portion in faith, and declare that as it goes out, it returns multiplied." She obeyed, though with trembling lips. She gave a part of her little and blessed it as it went. Not long after, she received more than she had given many times over. She said to me, It was as though the moment I opened my hand, the floodgates opened above me. That is the law. What you release in love returns multiplied. Another student once hoarded every cent in fear of losing it. He lived in misery, always counting, always calculating, always clutching. His money never grew, for he had made it his idol and his prison. I told him, "You must break the spell, you must give, you must release." At first he resisted, but finally he obeyed, blessing a gift he gave to another. Soon, to his astonishment, new channels of income opened, unexpected checks arrived, and his supply multiplied. He said to me, "I see now that I had been damming the river. When I gave, the river flowed again. Do you not see? Giving is not loss, it is multiplication. Every gift you give in faith is a seed sown in the soil of spirit. And spirit is a fertile field where no seed can die, and every seed brings forth 30-fold, 60-fold, 100-fold. The only condition is that you must give without fear, give without resentment, give in faith and in joy, declaring, 'I bless this gift, and it returns to me multiplied under grace, in perfect ways.' So I ask you now, do you bless others, or do you curse them with stinginess? Do you give in joy, or do you hoard in fear? Do you see yourself as a channel of circulation, or as a closed container trying to hoard a drop of the ocean? Remember, the ocean flows only into open vessels. The angel of money moves freely only through open channels. Keep your hand open, and it can never be empty. Here is your affirmation. I give in faith, and it returns multiplied. I am a channel of divine supply. Money flows freely to me and through me. I bless what I give, and I bless those who receive, knowing that, as I release, I increase. My life overflows with abundance, under grace, and in perfect ways. Speak it, and then act upon it. Give where you are led, bless as you give. And watch as the law proves itself again and again, multiplying your supply until you cannot contain it. Transition. And once you learn the law of giving and circulation, you are ready to step into the highest atmosphere of supply, the victory consciousness. For abundance is not a sometime experience, not a fleeting moment of demonstration, but a permanent state of triumph, a refusal to bow to appearances, and a daily walk in victory. Here is the summit of faith, the state where every demonstration is made permanent, walking in victory consciousness. Most people rise and fall with appearances. They rejoice when things look bright, but they collapse in fear when shadows fall. They declare abundance when money is in hand, but they groan in lack when the purse is light. They believe in health when they feel strong, but they confess sickness when pain arises. This is not victory consciousness. This is slavery to appearances. Victory consciousness looks beyond sight, beyond feeling, beyond circumstance, and declares, "It is done, I am triumphant, I walk in victory now." Victory is not future, it is present. Victory is not uncertain, it is guaranteed by divine law. Victory is not occasional, it is permanent. To walk in victory consciousness is to carry yourself as one who cannot be defeated, one who cannot be delayed, one who cannot be denied, because you know that the Christ within you has already overcome the world. I once counseled a man who had failed in business again and again. Each attempt crumbled, each plan dissolved, and he came to me saying, "Florence, I am cursed. Nothing I touch succeeds." I said to him, "Your failure is not in your affairs, it is in your consciousness. You walk in defeat, and so defeat follows you. You must begin to walk in victory now, even before you see success." I gave him the affirmation, "Every plan of my life prospers, every door opens. Every step I take is guided, and I walk in victory now." He repeated it, and at first it seemed absurd, for everything in appearance mocked his words. But he persisted, and soon a new venture opened to him, one that flourished and multiplied. He came back to me saying, "The change was in me. When I walked as a victor, victory met me at every turn. That is the law." Another student, broken in heart after repeated disappointments in love, said to me, "Florence, I cannot expect joy, for I am destined to be alone." I said, "Then you have decreed your own defeat. Stop walking in sorrow and begin to walk in victory. Say, 'Love surrounds me. I walk in victory in relationships. The right one appears by divine law under grace, in perfect ways.'" She obeyed, and though appearances still looked empty, she walked in joy, blessing her days as though the promise were already fulfilled. Soon, she met the right companion, and love blossomed in harmony. The victory was hers all along, it only waited for her to walk in it. So I ask you, now, how are you walking? Do you shuffle in defeat, confessing lack, rehearsing failures, waiting for appearances to cheer you? Or do you walk in victory, declaring triumph in the face of delay, blessing abundance when the purse is empty, praising health when the body trembles, rejoicing in love when the heart still waits? For the law is exact, you will always walk into the world you carry in your consciousness. Here is your affirmation. I walk in victory now. Every plan prospers, every door opens. Every enemy thought is dissolved. I cannot fail, for God never fails. I am triumphant in supply, triumphant in health, triumphant in love, triumphant in every good thing, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it, not as a wish, but as a decree. Speak it until it saturates your being. Speak it until your posture changes, your tone changes, your walk itself radiates triumph. For the angel of supply hears not only your words but your spirit, and it rushes to obey the consciousness of victory. Victory consciousness is calm, it is poised, it is joyous. It does not waver when appearances roar, it does not collapse when delays arise. It declares, though the fig tree shall not blossom, yet I rejoice, for my victory is assured, and the outer must yield, for appearances cannot stand against the decree of victory. Transition. And once you learn to walk in victory consciousness, you will see that the final seal of every demonstration is gratitude. For gratitude is the atmosphere of increase, the force that multiplies what you have, the song that keeps the door of supply forever open. Let us now step into the last secret of this great section: continuous gratitude. Here is the final seal upon every demonstration, the atmosphere in which miracles multiply and blessings never cease: continuous gratitude. Gratitude is not a polite phrase, not a momentary thank you whispered when something arrives. Gratitude is power. Gratitude is a force. Gratitude is the song of faith sung before the harvest is visible, the declaration of increase when the field still looks bare, the assurance that multiplies the little into much and keeps the river of supply flowing without interruption. Gratitude is not occasional, it is continuous. The soul that lives in thanksgiving carries an open channel through which the angel of supply moves freely, constantly, abundantly. The one who blesses what they have, no matter how small, will soon see it increase. The one who curses what they have, no matter how large, will soon see it vanish. For the law is exact. What you bless multiplies, what you complain of diminishes. Most people do not understand this. They look at their purse and say, "This is too little," and by their complaint they shrink it smaller still. They look at their body and say, "I am weak, I am sick," and by their complaint they intensify the weakness. They look at their home and say, "It is shabby, it is not enough," and by their complaint they rob it of beauty. Complaint is a curse spoken over one's own blessings, and it always diminishes. But gratitude is the opposite. Gratitude blesses, gratitude magnifies, gratitude multiplies. And because the law of life always gives increase where there is blessing, gratitude is the secret of permanent supply. I remember a woman who came to me holding a single dollar in her hand. She said, "Florence, this is all I have. What can I do with it?" I said, "Stop cursing it. Stop calling it little. Bless it. Thank God for it. Speak over it as though it were the key to treasures." I gave her the affirmation. I bless this dollar, and I give thanks for it. It is the magic purse of spirit that can never be depleted. As it goes out, more flows in, multiplied under grace and in perfect ways. She obeyed. She blessed instead of cursing. She thanked instead of complaining. She spoke life instead of lack. And soon, unexpected money began to flow to her, far beyond what she had, he imagined. Her dollar had multiplied because her gratitude had multiplied it. Another student, weary of paying bills, complained bitterly each time she wrote a check. She cursed her own supply with every groan. I said to her, "Each bill you pay is a proof that supply has already been given to you. Each payment is evidence that God has already met your need. Bless the bill. Give thanks that it is paid. Say, I give thanks that this bill is paid in full. I rejoice in my abundance. More supply flows to me even now." She obeyed, and to her amazement, her finances began to shift. New channels opened, debts dissolved, and her supply increased. The difference was not in her income but in her gratitude. So I ask you, are you living in complaint or in thanksgiving? Do you curse your purse, or do you bless it? Do you grumble over your health, or do you thank God for every breath of life? Do you despise your work, or do you bless it as the channel of your supply? Remember, the angel of money listens to your atmosphere. If you fill your air with complaint, the angel withdraws. If you fill it with thanksgiving, the angel rushes to multiply. Here is your affirmation. I live in continuous gratitude. I bless my money, and it multiplies. I bless my health, and it increases. I bless my work, and it prospers. I bless my relationships, and they blossom. I give thanks always, and my life overflows with abundance, under grace, and in perfect ways. Speak it until thanksgiving becomes the rhythm of your heart, until complaint is impossible, until blessing flows from your lips at every turn. For gratitude is the music of heaven, and when you sing it, the whole universe dances in response. Continuous gratitude is not only the seal of every demonstration, it is the atmosphere of permanent supply. When you live in it, you no longer rise and fall with appearances, no longer gain one day and lose the next, no longer see trickles of blessing that soon dry up. You live in rise, a river that never runs dry, a stream that never ceases, a storehouse that never empties. Gratitude keeps the doors of heaven open, and in that atmosphere, abundance is your daily bread. Transition. And now, having seen how expectancy, preparation, giving, victory, and gratitude weave together into a permanent flow of supply, we come to the closing seal of this great message. Let us now bring it all together in a final declaration that anchors the law in your heart and calls the angel of money into your life this very night. You have walked with me through the entire revelation, and now you stand at the door of demonstration. You came asking, "Can I call this angel tonight and wake to money tomorrow?" And by now, you know the answer beyond all doubt. The answer is yes. Not someday, not after long toil, not after years of struggle. Yes, tonight, yes, now. For the angel of money is no stranger, no distant being, but the law of divine supply itself, waiting always for your command, moving instantly at your word, ready this very moment to rush into action and deliver the abundance that is yours by divine right. You have seen how this angel works. You have learned that it does not answer complaint but command. You have seen why most never call it, because they block it with fear, they weaken it with begging, they cancel it with doubt. You have seen that the angel of supply does not move in time as men measure time, but outside of time, instantly, swiftly, perfectly. You have seen the mystery of the night hour, how the words you speak before sleep sink deepest, carried by the subconscious into fertile soil, where angels move without hindrance and bring the demonstration by morning. You have seen the commanding word of faith, spoken not as a wish but as a decree, which heaven and earth obey. And you have learned the laws that keep the channel clear, the power of the tongue, the choice between fear and faith, the practice of casting the burden, the multiplication of gratitude, the calm of poise, the voice of authority. You have learned to live in constant expectancy, to refuse to prepare for failure, to give and bless others so the river flows, to walk in victory consciousness, and to sing the song of continuous gratitude. Each of these laws is a chord, and together they form the music of demonstration. Each of these truths is a stone, and together they build the house of permanent supply. So now I say to you, tonight is your night. Do not delay, do not postpone, do not say someday I will try this. Speak now, call now, declare now. For the angel of money is waiting at your side, listening for your word. Here is the final affirmation we speak together. I call the angel of supply now. I give thanks that money rushes to me while I sleep. I cast every burden on the Christ within me and rest in peace. I wake in the morning to doors opened, needs met, and abundance in hand. I walk in constant expectancy. I refuse failure and prepare only for success. I bless what I have, and it multiplies. I walk in victory and live in continuous gratitude. My supply flows unbroken, under grace, and in perfect ways. Speak it with me aloud. Speak it until you feel the chains fall, until the fear dissolves, until the peace of God settles over you like a mantle. Speak it as though the demonstration were already here, for indeed it island, and then release it. Go to your rest in peace, knowing that the angel of money has gone forth on your word, moving swiftly, arranging perfectly, delivering surely. And when you rise in the morning, give thanks at once, for the supply will already be on its way, visible in channels you could never have outlined. And before we part, I give you this. The next step in this path is the secret door to success, for supply is but the beginning. There are doors in your life that have long been shut, doors barred by resentment, fear, and delay. But there is a door that opens to effortless triumph, to divine shortcuts, to victories unseen. In the next message, I will show you how to walk through that door and never again be turned away. Do not miss it. Click now and continue the path that has been prepared for you. Go forth tonight, not as a beggar pleading for coins, but as a child of God commanding your inheritance. Call the angel of supply with faith, rest in peace, rise in victory. For life does not change slowly, it changes in an instant, and tonight is your instant.